it's causing people to like lash out at farmers. I feel like they're having misinformation, I think, given to them or presented to them, and they're taking it out on us without knowing what's really going on, I think.
This is the Real Food, Real People podcast.
More and more people are telling us there are things that make growing food and farming harder than it needs to be. And this week we hear that same message from Mieschia Wilson, a farmsteader near Custer, Washington. This is the Real Food, Real People podcast. I'm Dylan Honkoop, sharing the real stories of the people behind our food here in Washington State. And you need to hear what Mieschia has to say from her very small-scale farmstead perspective on the challenges of growing real local food. So when did you get into growing food or decide I'm going to grow food?
Well, we started doing it like when I was little, so I never knew anything else.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, we had to get away from it. And so probably about 15 years went by, and it was like, we have to get back to this. Like, we want to show like my kids and my niece and stuff, like all about that kind of stuff. And so we were like, let's look for some property. So about, let's see, almost 4 years ago, we got this place, and then I just started acquiring chickens and stuff like that. And it started out just more for us as a homestead. Yeah. And then my son, he came up with an idea, and he was like, we always have extra fruits and vegetables, and like we could totally have a farm stand. And he had like this picture that he drew of him standing in a farm stand with people in line holding up with a talking bubble saying, take our money. So I was like, dude, that's a really good idea. Yeah. So then with like the egg money and like different fruits and stuff that we had a bounty of, I saved all that money and bought them like different stuff to be able to make a farm stand. And I was like, yeah, like this will teach you guys so much stuff. Right. And like the fact that you want to share this with people, I think that was really important.
Yeah, and then you can just kind of keep building. That's how the addiction starts, right?
Oh, it's pretty bad.
But to go back, like, were your parents farmers?
No,
or you just kind of did it around the house, or?
Yeah, they were more homesteaders. It was like, it was just the cheaper way to eat, and it was the better way to eat. Yeah. You can control so much, so. Right. We had 20 acres, so we had all kinds of stuff, beef, pigs, chickens, huge garden.
Where did you grow up?
In Deming. Well, near Van Zandt, actually, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that was nice just kind of in your blood from the get-go then?
Yeah, definitely.
So what were you doing for those 15 years when you weren't around farming, growing food?
Wishing to get back to this, definitely. We had to move to a lot, and it just was like, this is not for us. Like, we have to find a way out, so, and we did.
I had that same experience.
Yeah.
I lived in town for 1 year, and I'm like,
never again.
I don't think I can do this anymore.
No.
So you started at that. When did you start calling it Next Generation Farmstead? Like, how did that all come about, and how did you get to where you are today?
So I started thinking about like different things, like what we were about and stuff, and I am kind of nerdy like that, so I was like, oh, Next Generation. Like, I'm really into Star Wars, but that's more of a Star Trek name. Yeah. But I was like, but it flows with it also, the fact that, like, the next generation, which is me, the kids, maybe their kids, I don't know, but, and then we're also raising next generations of animals. So I was like, okay, that works. And then our farmstead, like, I was like, okay, well, we're not really a homestead. We're not really a farm. We're kind of both. Yeah. And so really we're a homestead ran business. So that's where I kind of came up with that.
I love it because in my advocacy work, all the things that I've done, the families and farms that I've gotten to know, small or large, to me, that's like the foundational thing about a family farm.
The core.
Is the next generation.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. Of course, anybody's trying to make money, at least hopefully to pay the bills. Yeah. Maybe not every year. I mean, everybody is like hoping to strike it rich or something, but that rarely happens.
Oh yeah. And I don't think it would be farming, but there's other paybacks.
But it can't be all about that. It's all about creating something then that the next generation can continue.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and like the values with it. I didn't just think about like, okay, we're going to make some money or something.
Right.
It's the fact that like we're teaching nutrition, we're teaching economics, we're teaching business, like all of these different things. And plus like a lot of it's labor intensive, so you're getting a workout. So there's so many more benefits, and like a lot of it's being lost. And I feel like if a lot of people got back to it, even in a small form, there you would reap a lot more benefits than what we're seeing right now.
Yeah. Even if like a majority of people's food wasn't necessarily sourced that way. I mean, as much as possible is great. Yeah. But it, as you probably know, and as we encounter with a lot of, it's tough to grow all, especially if you want to have diverse meals all the time. That's a lot. But even if people do just some, like you're saying, I think that brings this connection between food and the land and
exactly. And I always feel like, okay, well, if we did some and then the neighbor, has a different variety available, well, guess what? Now we can trade, we can do different things. So then you can be able to get more local stuff without having to like rely on you being able to do it yourself.
Yeah. So what do you all grow? What do you got?
We have a vegetable garden and stuff like that, like basics like zucchini, peas, just stuff like that. Mainly we raise pigs, chickens, and turkeys. We are dabbling in bees this year, so we're going to try that. But we have all kinds of stuff here. We have ducks, and I sell those eggs. We have a rescue rabbit. So she just kind of hangs out, but she helps fertilize the garden. So there's that. And then the goats, I got the goats because they're just kind of fun. Like they don't get milked or anything, but you can't be sad around a goat. Like they're always ridiculous. They're always doing something. And kind of the cool part too, I've had friends that were like, hey, can I just come hang out with the goats for a little while? Like, it's been a rough week.
Goat therapy.
Yeah, exactly. So, like,
that's so awesome.
You may not eat them or something from them, right?
Right.
But they provide something in another way.
And they, provide nutrients out in the field, too.
Exactly.
Like the rabbit. Yeah, talk about that idea of sustainability. That sounds like kind of part of what you're interested in doing this. How do you view that?
I just feel like when you see stuff in the store and the prices and the quality is going, and the fact that like being able to sustain yourself where we were having this issue of going into the grocery store and there's nothing there. And I don't think that should be a reason for that. Like there's no way that anybody needs to freak out. And I feel like the way that we're doing things where we're able to go, well, my food's walking around the backyard right now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a comforting feeling being able to do those kinds of things and have that available to you. So
yeah. Food security.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I mean, like during COVID, people were just kind of going off the charts, and like it's understandable. I mean, it's one of the top things that you need to live, right?
Yeah.
But
only thing more important is water.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's all part of it too.
Yeah, exactly. So. But when the population used to be 97% connected with agriculture. Now it's 3% or less when everybody needs food. So why is there such a disconnect now?
How do you see that manifesting, I guess, that disconnect? I mean, we talk about that a lot on this podcast. How does it happen from your perspective, or what is it causing?
It's causing people to like lash out at farmers, I feel like. A lot of it that's being said is like people are not, they're having misinformation, I think, given to them or presented to them, and they're taking it out on us without knowing what's really going on, I think. And I think if people got more involved, even not having a farm, but like coming to see one, being a part of one, volunteer, whatever you feel necessary that you could get educated by it would change people's perspective, because the things people say to you like is unreal.
Give me an example. Like what?
How
do they even like just stop you at the store or like send you a message on your Farmstead Instagram or what is it?
Usually it's that or like a comment on there. And I've seen other farm people be, accosted on there, and it's pretty intense. But I've had people say something as extreme as that I'm abusing my kids by subjecting them to like butchering and stuff like that. So
because they see butchering happening?
Yeah.
And that's child abuse. So
and
what do you
I'm
say
like,
back?
Now that's the hard part, because I mean, like, I you want to say a lot of different things, but my main answer that's been consistent is like, why don't you come out and you can visit us and you can see for yourself like what exactly we do and all of those things, and you can see for yourself that I can change your mind. And no one has ever taken me up on that.
Wow.
And it's always an argument like, I'm not coming there to see that. Oh my gosh, you just want to kill something. And it's like, no, it's a really hard thing to do. It really is. There's still a part of you that goes, this hurts, it's not that we're just out here just slaying stuff for no reason. So,
right.
Yeah.
It's part of the circle of life as it has been for eons.
Yeah. And I was actually talking to my two kids and my niece about it, about like why people react this way and stuff. And my 7-year-old niece was like, but Auntie, we could just show them. If we show them that we give the animals love, they would think differently. So if a 7-year-old can figure it out, like, I think other people should be open-minded to it too.
Some people say, well, okay, well, you love them, but then, you eat them ultimately. How do you answer a person like that?
I mean, again, it's just like the circle, but if I can make sure that this animal had a good life and be able to, fill my body with what I helped it raise to be, I guess, like, that's better than knowing that something got treated so bad and I'm just going to pay more than enough money for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I've heard I think it was last season on the podcast when we talked with Lulu Redder, who does pastured pork and stuff down, I think, by Duval, if I remember right. I'm totally blanking on, that was by Duval. She had a great thing too. It's like, I want to make sure, this is what she said about her hogs and other livestock. She's like, she wants to make sure they have all great days until, they have the one bad day.
Yep.
And like, on one hand, that sounds harsh, but then if you think about like the human life,
right?
Like, I know the likelihood of me having a lot of bad days at the end, whenever that is much higher than it just suddenly being over.
Right.
And that's where some people are like, if I could go out a certain way, well, that's part of this. And really, what's the other option?
Yeah. And we're in control of that. Like, most of the time, nobody knows it's gonna happen, right? Like, I make sure that I get really close to them to where like they trust me and they'll follow me and stuff, like the pigs especially, because if you ever had to chase a pig, it's not fun. It's a lot better if you just have them follow you and right on back. But I just get it to where like they're not afraid of me, so that when I do come for them, they're just like, oh, it's a normal day. They don't know it's going to happen, and I'd rather it be like that.
Stressed and running around and freaked out.
Yeah.
So that's what you're talking about when you say, like, you feel like people are lashing out at farmers. Like, do you think it's mostly around the meat thing, or, like, what are the...
Mostly around the meat, yeah. It's always, like, the same type of comments that, like, there's meat in the store. Like, I've had a lot of those comments. I've even received and seen on other people's threads and stuff, where it's like, there's meat in the store, and it's like, but how did it get there? And I don't know, it's just like, if you look at our products versus stuff in the store, it's not the same quality. Like, it's just not.
Stopping just briefly to thank our sponsors, including Mana Insurance Group, an insurance group I've talked about many times here on the program. They support what we do, and I'm a customer of theirs, and I support what they do too, which is taking a real hands-on, local kind of an old-fashioned, personal relationship kind of approach to making sure that your family's financial future is protected. Not just picking up the pieces when things go wrong, but having a plan in advance. That's what they believe in. They don't believe in pressure sales or anything like that. They want to come alongside and find what's right for you. So check them out. You can find them online, manainsurancegroup.com. Also, the Dairy Farmers of Washington, doing something similar to what we do here oftentimes, which is sharing the real stories of the dairy products and the people and animals that produce them here in Washington State. You can check out their website at wadairy.org, and you can find out there more details about an incredible farm tour, a dairy tour that they are planning coming up next month right here in the county where I grew up around dairy farming and berry farming and everything else that I grew up around. Check it out. Again, at wadairy.org. People from all over are invited to come check out farms up close and personal. This is a way you can get hands-on, even with some of the people we've talked with here on the podcast. We'll be talking about some of the specific farmers soon, but they do include some of the guests we've had here on the Real Food, Real People podcast. Again, I'm Dylan Honcoop here on the podcast, sharing my journeys and stories that I gather along the way of the real people behind our food in Washington State. Let's get back to Mieschia Wilson here on the podcast.
So what's your secret? How do you get such high quality products, food, meat?
I research a lot, and I try to pick the best that while still maintaining, like a lower price. But, I just want to feed them how I would want to eat, quality.
Yeah. So it's all about what goes in.
Mm-hmm. I would think so. It just, you're cautious of what they're getting and how much they're getting, and you're in control of that too.
Right. And then probably living a pretty chill life helps too.
Yeah, when you get petted every day or treats or something. But we do grow like one section of the garden just specifically for the chickens and the pigs and stuff, like extra stuff. So they're getting fresh fruits and vegetables too.
Not just feed in a bag, which you probably have to do in the middle of winter.
Yeah, we try not to be in the middle of winter. Like, we're pretty seasonal too, because it's just me and my family, so we just handle it all of ourselves, and you try to not be out there in the middle of December, slopping hogs. So
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot to it. What does a day look like for you? Because this isn't your only gig, right?
No, I feel like I must think that there's like more hours in the day or something for me, but no, I get up, and then I'm usually up by 5, and then because my spouse and I have 2 separate properties, so we have this one and then one in Deming. So I head to Deming. There's cows out there, and then my ducks are out there, and then I used to have a couple pigs out there, but get those guys taken care of. My mom comes out here, does the feeding of the goats and the chickens here, and the ducks and stuff. And then, I go to work for 8 to 10 hours, and then you come back and you make sure everybody has water, and then I'm back here. And then usually the weekends is, cleaning pens and stuff, and picking up feed and checking on everybody, trimming hooves, and just, it's a long day.
Do you want to eventually do something like that full time? Or what's...
I don't know. Like, it would be nice. But it's hard to, it's hard to manage all of that, to get bigger and stuff. And with all the regulations and stuff, it's hard to really jump in, I guess. There's so many different avenues that you have to navigate to be able to go full force like some people have, which is awesome. But
right.
Yeah.
What kind of regulations? What would be?
Well, with the packaging, I only do custom cuts because that's the easiest for me right now.
Right.
For as small as that we are, to get the USDA label is just kind of difficult. And then I would have really liked to be able to officially put an organic stamp on our food, but the cost to just have that done is pretty up there. So, I still tell people we are organic and stuff. It's just not certified.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. It's so costly that I would have to incorporate that into the price for people. So I still hope that people, do trust that it is organic just because it doesn't have the label that, like, I'm trying to save everybody money on that end of it.
No, those are two things that I hear so often talking with people on the meat thing for sure, like custom exempt, where people have to basically purchase a share of an animal before it's butchered and wrapped, versus buying it by the cut, which is USDA. And so many guests on the podcast have talked about just how big of a shortage there is of places to do that, how expensive it is, how to even get a date to have, a shop do all of that is dang near impossible.
Yeah,
it sounds
and there's a market for it right now. I mean, if anybody wants to, there's actually a poultry processing company that was like, okay, we're done and we want to sell, and there's no one to take it, and they're like, we would rather sell it to somebody local. Please, we'll show you how to do it, which is great. Like, I mean, I couldn't do it. I'd love to, but like that's just not my avenue. But yeah, like there's nowhere to really go. It was a struggle, like for real. Like this year, 2021 was like a struggle to find a butcher, and like luckily a lot of places will take the 4-H kids first, but yeah, it's definitely something that people could get into if they wanted to. I mean, I understand that it's labor intensive and stuff, but we definitely need it.
And same thing with the organic labeling thing. A lot of people are like, yeah, I follow organic practices or almost, but getting the label is expensive and time consuming and frustrating and all of that. So I just don't do it. And it seems like the relationships with customers and the marketing is moving more towards like that trust. Like, I trust you as a grower, a farmer, how you're growing this food more than some label that somebody, slapped on a thing. Because, I mean, a package can either just be a bunch of marketing or it can be from somebody who's actually doing a good job. But I think there's even some skepticism there. Yeah,
and I think that, like, I understand that there's regulations and things, but, like, I don't think they need to be so tight where people can't even be able to do it. Like, and then some of the wording, you're like, okay, am I reading this right? Like, I shouldn't have to navigate so hard to be able to produce food and properly. Yeah. So it's just one of those things I think everybody needs to go back and look at. Like, why does it need to be so expensive?
Right. Totally. So how does it all change?
I don't know. I think you have to have that hard sit down with people, and it's hard to get people to change their minds. It's like, nope, this is how it is. Nope, this is the reason why. Or sometimes people are like, because. Yeah. Like you're 3 years old or something.
Right.
No, that's the way it is.
I think there needs to be some compromise to do. Like, let's look at the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
We shut down more local production of food at whatever level for some, T that needs to be crossed, I that needs to be dotted, it's totally nitpicking, and then you miss the bigger picture of sustainability, local food, carbon footprint, all that kind of stuff.
And that's the thing too, if you don't do it right, you get rejected. So then you have to apply again and you lose your money. So it's like, if you don't do it right the first time, and it's not like one of those things where you're like, hey, just show me, I just want to make sure. Like, you're taking a chance on making sure that you understood it. Like, ugh.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
So what do your customers say about that? People who buy from you.
Like, a lot of people would love to come by and just get a couple of pork steaks or stuff like that, right? And I'm like, and it's also a really good way to showcase the meat, because like when you do custom cuts, it's all wrapped up. You can't see it.
Right, true.
So a lot of people would be into it. They've always said like, hey, let us know if you can or what we can do to help. And it's like, I'd have to raise the prices, and I feel bad, but like people are willing to pay for that because they want to be in support of this, especially when they know that we're involving the kids so deep into it too. They're like, hey, they're learning all kinds of stuff. I support that. Let's do it.
Yeah. So what do your kids do with the farm?
Yeah, they
aspect?
do. The garden and stuff. They'll go out and weed. They'll collect eggs and wash them and stuff. And they'll go out and feed in every once in a while and stuff. Like, it's a little harder sometimes to get them going, especially on days like this where it's nasty out there. Like, I don't want him. Neither do I, but this is what we're doing.
Yep.
You got to learn the hard part too. So
Yeah. It's not all just fun and games all the time.
yeah.
Sadly.
And sometimes they come up with like the different little concepts or something, or hey, we should get this year. So I like hearing their ideas and stuff. They have a different perspective than all of us sometimes.
So what's on the horizon for you? What are you going to add anything? You going to get bigger? You want to keep it this size? You talked about not wanting to go big, go full time, which I totally get that. It is a whole different ballgame for some people.
Yeah, I add stuff like every year, I feel like. So last year we did 50 meat chickens alone, or 55, something like 50 or 55. This year I'm adding 70, and then I've added quail too.
Oh wow!
So we're gonna let them guys grow out and have whole quail available also.
Wow, I don't know if I've ever eaten quail.
People say it's delicious. Like I had one lady tell me like quail and dumplings. That's the way to go. So we'll see.
Have you had it yet?
Mm-mm.
I was gonna say, what does it taste like?
I don't
tell
know.
me how it tastes like chicken.
Yeah, I would feel like it would be like a gourmet chicken.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in total I'll have 105 meat birds.
Wow.
Yeah. So my family's always like, okay, how much is it this year? Like, we're going to do like 50, right? Yeah, plus 20 more, I don't know. It's fun. We're able to do it. So, and more people like reach out. Like last year when we sold out of chickens, everybody was like, what? You're already sold out? Yeah. You got to,
get them quick.
you guys got to go fast, man. So that's always nice. So I feel like adding just a little bit more that we're able to handle to be able to get the people that we missed last year is really important, growing that base to maybe where we are at a point where we can go, hey, let's do this full time. We have that customer base. Let's go for it.
So I'm going to give you permission to brag just a little bit. What do your customers say? Obviously they're loving it. It sounds like from what you were just describing.
I mean, just like a lot of positive feedback, and that's always the scary thing because, like, you never know what they might turn out like. Like, what if something happens, right, where it's like, this pig was really fatty, oh no, or something, right? But you never know, and then, like, I get that feedback back, and I'm like, okay. I was freaking out the whole time for nothing, but no, just that they're happy that they can support something like this, that it's local. They know what this animal ate. They know how it was treated, and they can go here. They can come and visit if they want. They can see their food walking around and be able to see that the quality is given to it. And I've had a couple people reach out who've already are like, we want to be back on your pork list. When is that? Like, when can we get another order?
So Next Generation Farmstead is where people can find. Is that the handle on Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
Just at Next Generation Farmstead?
Yep.
Sweet. Is there a website too?
No, not right now. I thought about it, but Instagram. A lot of it's like people that I know or friends that have passed my name on, and it seems to be word of mouth seems to be working right now. So we just kind of do that. And
well, if you're selling out, then why stress about doing more?
Exactly. Yeah. And between the Instagram page, I feel like right now that's probably enough, but we'll see where it goes. You never know.
Well, you started doing it at the right time as we headed into just before the pandemic, right?
Exactly. Like, so the other job that I have is doing septic work, and it's always going to be there, right?
Right.
Food, always going to be there. So it's like two things that's like, it's kind of a security, not just for us, but for people everywhere.
So during the day, you're driving trucks and dealing with, that's intense.
Yeah.
That's hard work.
Yeah, it is. But it's pretty fun, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. You make people happy, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And you go all over the place, or like, what's your...
We just stay in Whatcom County, but we go all over though. Like actually yesterday we went to Eliza Island even to do one. So I mean that one's gonna be pretty cool. But yeah, that's awesome. We go all over, and it's just that's what you do. And then it's kind of interesting. I always feel like I'm digging, like I'm here on the farm digging something. I'm at work digging. It's never.
What did you do before that?
And like back when did you do where did you grew up in Deming? So did you go to Mount Baker
I
High
did,
School?
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I graduated in 07, and then I went to BTC for a little while for accounting, and then I ended up just like having bartender jobs the whole time.
Yep.
And then we started doing this, and then the pandemic happened, and our place got shut down, and it was like, okay, just wait it out. And then they were like, no, we don't want to reopen. And I was like, no, what am I going to do? So
This is where you had previously been working?
I'd worked there for 3, maybe almost 4 years. And they were like, yeah, we're just going to do away with it, which, a lot of places did. And it was unfortunate. And so I was like, what am I going to do? And so my husband owns my spouse owns the business. And he was like, you want to just come pump septics with me? I'm like, sure, okay. Yeah. And then I was like, well, I wonder about like the farm stuff, like, I mean, what if we got more into that? And then that's when Aiden came up with his concept for the farm stand, and I'm like, that's perfect. It's always going to be there, so let's do it. And it's been great, honestly.
What do your parents think about it then, knowing that you grew up doing this with them and now you're back into it? I would imagine they're probably kind of pumped about it.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, there's some times where everyone's like, okay, that was too much this year or something. But I feel like where everybody can be able to give their expertise on it, too. And that's the thing about keeping it so small, that we're able to give all of our attention to the things that we actually know. And where we're able to just, like, walk down here, grab something out of the freezer, and that was by our hands, right? One of us was in charge of that. So
hands-on. So you know exactly everything that's going on.
Yeah. And like when we weren't doing this and my kids were little, my parents would always tell them like, oh man, like we can't wait to get you guys, animals and stuff, and like be on a farm and, include you guys in that. Like, oh, it's so much better. They'd always talk it up. So I think they're really happy with it.
What do you think people should know about farming? I mean, I think we've kind of touched on that already, but like if you had one shot to tell folks who aren't around it what they need to know, what would it be?
I would say that it's really important. Like, I feel like people need to kind of go back to those roots and get connected with a farmer, get connected in a way, like even if you grew tomatoes on your balcony, just get into it a little bit more, and you'd probably see the benefits of it rather than villainizing it so much.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me out here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
This is awesome. And so far, the goats tried to eat my shirt earlier.
I know.
But so far, they haven't attacked me. They're just very friendly.
I know. I can't believe they're not like popping up as much as before. Yeah.
We'll have to see if they actually appeared on the video or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Aretha came up like a couple times. But.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate it, and keep doing what you do. Again, at Next Generation Farmstead is where people can find you.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thank you, Dylan.
This is the Real Food, Real People podcast. These are the stories of the people who grow your food.